Welcome, beautiful damsels. In a world that craves connection, the greatest mistake is thinking you don't need it. Sigma women walk a path few dare to tread, a path of unwavering independence, quiet power, and relentless self-reliance. Their allure is magnetic, their presence unforgettable, yet in the realm of dating, their very strengths can become the traps that isolate them. While they conquer life with grace and grit, the subtle missteps they make in love often go unnoticed until it's too late. But what are these hidden mistakes? How do women who seem to have it all together find themselves lost in the maze of dating? In this eye-opening exploration, we'll unravel the 9 dating mistakes Sigma women unknowingly make. Mistakes that could mean the difference between fleeting encounters and lasting connection. Prepare to dive deep into the mind of a Sigma woman, where independence meets vulnerability, and where the strongest among us often face the toughest lessons in love. Number 1. The illusion of independence as a wall. Sigma. Women are masters of independence. They thrive in their own space, and that self-sufficiency is like a badge of honor they wear with pride. The problem? That independence can sometimes turn into an impenetrable wall. They've built a life that doesn't require anyone else, and that's where things start to get tricky. The very thing that makes them strong also makes them hard to reach. When dating, Sigma women often don't realize that the "I don't need anyone" vibe they're giving off might as well be written in neon lights. It's not that they don't someone, it's just that the line between needing and wanting gets blurred. They assume that by standing tall on their own, the right person will naturally see their value. But here's the kicker. While they're standing there, independent as ever, the person they're dating might be feeling like they're standing on the outside of a castle with no drawbridge in sight. What makes it even more complicated is that Sigma women aren't doing this intentionally. They've spent so much time perfecting their independence, they don't even realize it's become a moat. Partners end up feeling like they're auditioning for a role they didn't know they had to audition for, testing their worth against someone who seems to need no one. The irony? Behind that fortress of independence is someone who craves connection just as much as anyone else. But she's so used to being the lone wolf that she forgets how to let people in. It's not about needing a knight in shining armor. It's about allowing someone to walk through the gates every once in a while because, as it turns out, even the strongest wolves get lonely. And here's the funny part. Sometimes her dates are too polite to even knock on the door. They see the castle, respect the moat, and think, well, I guess she's got it all figured out. Little do they know, the Sigma woman is pacing inside, wondering why no one's making an effort to scale the walls. It's a classic case of being too good at being alone. Independence isn't the problem, it's the unintentional isolation that follows. Number 2, the unspoken test. Sigma women are known for their high standards and sharp intuition. When they enter the dating scene, they often unconsciously put their partners through a series of mental and emotional tests. These aren't the typical, "Does he open the door for me?" or "Will he text me back?" kind of tests. No, for a Sigma woman, it's far more subtle and sophisticated than that. She's quietly observing everything, how he carries himself, how he reacts to her independence, whether he challenges her intellectually, and if he has the emotional strength to handle her complex personality. And here's where things get tricky. Her partner probably doesn't even know he's being tested. He's walking through a minefield, completely unaware of the rules. Sigma women don't spell out what they want because they believe actions speak louder than words. The problem is, the guy might be perfectly capable of passing the test, but he has no clue what's expected of him. So when he stumbles or fails to meet these unspoken standards, the Sigma woman quietly marks it as a red flag, and she begins to distance herself. All the while, her date is left wondering what just happened. Everything seemed fine one minute, and now she's pulling away. The truth is, these silent tests can be as confusing as they are unfair. It's not that a Sigma woman means to set up these invisible hurdles. It's just how her mind works, constantly evaluating, assessing, and measuring a person's worth without ever expressing her expectations. She might think she's saving time, quickly weeding out the wrong matches, but what often happens is she pushes away people who would have been great partners if they only knew what she was looking for. And let's be honest, nobody likes to feel like they're in a secret competition they didn't sign up for. While her mind is busy analyzing every little detail, the other person just wants to enjoy the moment. But for the Sigma woman, dating isn't just about fun. It's about finding someone who fits into her life without disrupting it. The real challenge for her is to realize that sometimes the best connections happen when you put the tests aside and let people in without judgment. These tests are meant to protect her, to filter out the incompatible ones, but they can end up filtering out too many people who might actually be exactly what she needs, if only she'd give them the chance. The tricky part is finding the balance between standards and spontaneity, between wanting someone to prove themselves and letting things unfold naturally. Number 3, overestimating the power of silence. Sigma women are often the queens of calm, keeping their emotions tightly in check and choosing silence over saying the wrong thing. They believe silence is powerful, that it conveys wisdom, strength, and control. In their minds, it's the ultimate move. No drama, no unnecessary words, just a quiet, controlled presence that says, "I've got this." But here's the catch. What they think is mysterious and strong can often come across as cold and distant. When a Sigma woman encounters conflict or emotional tension, her instinct is to withdraw and stay quiet, thinking her silence will be interpreted as composure. But to her partner, that silence can feel more like being left out in the cold with no blanket. The partner is left wondering. The lack of communication can be downright confusing and frustrating because, let's face it, no one's a mind reader. The funny part is, while her partner is spiraling, thinking about all the things they could have done wrong, the Sigma woman is sitting there thinking she's handling the situation like a pro. It's a bit like playing poker with someone who refuses to show their cards, not realizing the other person is getting ready to fold, thinking the game's over. The real issue with this silent treatment is that while the Sigma woman believes she's avoiding unnecessary conflict, she's actually creating a different kind of tension, one that her partner doesn't know how to fix. Silence, though powerful, can be misinterpreted. What was meant to show calm control can instead signal emotional unavailability. It leaves her partner feeling like they're talking to a wall instead of working through the issue, and honestly, relationships need communication, even if it's messy, emotional, or uncomfortable. The Sigma woman has to learn that speaking up doesn't make her any less in control. It actually brings clarity and connection. Silence can be golden, sure, but too much of it turns the relationship into a guessing game. A little humor, a little vulnerability, and yes, even a few awkward conversations can go a long way in turning those quiet moments into real opportunities for growth. Because sometimes, saying nothing at all speaks the loudest, just not in the way she thinks. Number 4, the shadow of self-sufficiency. Sigma women are fiercely self-sufficient. They take pride in the fact that they can handle life on their own, solve their own problems, and don't rely on anyone else to get by. It's not just a personality trait, it's their way of life. But in the world of relationships, this extreme self-sufficiency can send the wrong message to their partners. The mistake they often make is confusing independence with emotional detachment. In dating, this can lead to a situation where their partner feels irrelevant, almost like a background character in their story. They're present, but they never get the sense that they're. And while the Sigma woman thinks she's protecting herself by never depending on anyone, she's also unintentionally keeping her partner at arm's length. It's not that she doesn't care, she deeply values the relationship, but she's so accustomed to being in control of her own life that she doesn't realize how much of an impact her self-reliance is having on her partner. This can create a slow but steady erosion of connection. When a partner doesn't feel needed, they start to question their place in the relationship. They wonder if they're truly valued or if they're just filling a space that could easily be left empty. It's a delicate balance that the Sigma woman often struggles to navigate. Her strength lies in not needing anyone to survive, but in love, survival isn't the point, connection is. And it's not just about asking for help or relying on someone else for basic needs. It's about showing her partner that their presence matters, that even though she can do it all on her own, she doesn't too. The subtle difference between needing and wanting someone in your life is crucial here. The Sigma woman might be perfectly fine without a partner, but by not expressing that she risks making them feel unnecessary. The truth is, relationships are built on more than shared experiences or good chemistry. They're built on a sense of being valued, of feeling like you bring something meaningful to each other's lives. For the Sigma woman, learning to communicate that desire, to let her partner know that their presence enriches her world, is vital. It's not about losing her independence. It's about making space for someone else to share it. Because at the end of the day, being self-sufficient is powerful, but being able to share your life with someone, to make them feel valued even when you don't them, is what keeps a relationship strong. Number 5. Depth without invitation. Sigma women are known for their depth, intellectually, emotionally, and even spiritually. They are the kind of people who see the world differently, who dive beneath the surface of conversations, relationships, and life itself. But here's the catch: they rarely invite others into that depth. It's not that they don't want to, it's that they often assume people will naturally find their way there, as if their complexity will be uncovered without effort. This is one of their biggest dating mistakes, having all this depth but not extending an invitation to explore it. In relationships, this can make things difficult. Their partners can sense there's more to them, something profound and extraordinary just below the surface, but without being given access, they feel like they're stuck skimming the top of an ocean. There's a sense of mystery and intrigue that surrounds Sigma women, which is part of their charm, but after a while, that mystery can become frustrating. A partner may feel like they're constantly being kept at a distance no matter how close they try to get. The Sigma woman, on the other hand, may not even realize this is happening. To her, the connection feels fine. She's present, she's engaged, but she's also not opening up those deeper layers. She assumes that if someone is meant to understand her, they'll figure it out on their own. But relationships don't work like that. People need a bit of guidance, a hint that they're allowed to dig deeper, to uncover the complex inner world of a Sigma woman without feeling like they're trespassing. This is where things often unravel. The Sigma woman, so used to existing in her own intellectual and emotional world, forgets that relationships require more than just presence. They require openness. She wants someone who can handle her complexity, who can match her depth. But she doesn't make it easy for anyone to get there. And over time, this leaves her partner feeling as though they're constantly knocking on a door that never fully opens. The irony is, Sigma women want deep, meaningful connections. They crave the kind of relationship where they can be fully understood, where their partner gets them on every level. But they tend to overlook the fact that for that to happen, they have to show the way. It's not enough to just deep. You have to let someone in. Relationships are about allowing someone to explore your depths, not waiting for them to stumble upon it on their own. The challenge for Sigma women is learning that opening up doesn't make them vulnerable in a weak way. It makes them vulnerable in a human way. True depth isn't just about how much you understand or feel, it's about how much you're willing to share. And by letting someone explore those layers, they can finally create the kind of connection they've been looking for all along. Number 6. A lone wolf mentality in a pack world. Sigma. Women are natural lone wolves. They've mastered the art of thriving on their own, and solitude is not something they fear, it's something they embrace. This gives them a sense of peace and control, which is why they often prefer to navigate life on their own terms. But in dating, this lone wolf mentality can create complications. It's not that they're unwilling to share their life with someone, but their fierce independence can make it seem like there's no room for anyone else in their world. This mentality sends a message, whether intentional or not, that they don't really need a partner. A Sigma woman can be so self-sufficient that a potential partner might feel like a guest rather than a significant part of her life. She doesn't cling, she doesn't demand attention, and she certainly doesn't need someone to complete her. While all of this sounds strong and appealing on the surface, it can also leave her partner feeling like they're not an essential part of the picture. In many cases, the partner starts to feel sidelined, almost like a spectator in her life rather than a true companion. They might wonder, for the Sigma woman, this isn't a matter of disinterest. It's simply how she's used to living. She moves through life without relying on anyone, but the unintended result is that her partner can feel unneeded and disconnected. Sigma women are also wary of losing their independence, so they're careful not to let anyone get too close or interfere with their sense of autonomy. But in the process of protecting that autonomy, they sometimes push their partner too far to the periphery. It's not that they don't want love or companionship, but they struggle with finding the balance between sharing their life and keeping their independence intact. What Sigma women often need to realize is that it's possible to have both. A relationship doesn't mean giving up their autonomy or compromising who they are. It's about allowing someone to stand beside them, to be a part of their journey without taking over. Love isn't about becoming dependent. It's about finding someone who adds to your life, who complements your strength without diminishing it. The challenge for Sigma women is letting someone in without feeling like they're sacrificing their identity. They have to learn that being in a relationship doesn't mean losing their independence. It means expanding it to include someone who can walk alongside them. When they allow that to happen, they'll discover that companionship can be just as fulfilling as solitude, and that being a lone wolf doesn't mean they have to walk the path entirely alone. Number 7, fear of labeling, fear of limitations. Sigma women are notorious for resisting labels. They shy away from titles like girlfriend, partner, or anything that feels like it puts them in a box. To them, labels are limiting, confining, and they carry the fear of being tied down or losing their sense of freedom. It's not that they don't want a relationship, they often do, but they can't stand the idea of being defined by it. In their eyes, love should be fluid, undefined, something that exists on its own terms without the need for societal stamps or expectations. But this resistance to labels can create confusion and insecurity for their partners. Without a clear label, a partner may wonder where they stand, or if they're even in a real relationship at all. The Sigma woman, with her desire for open-ended, no-strings-attached dynamics, might feel completely content in the connection. However, her partner could be left in a state of limbo, constantly questioning whether their relationship is real, stable, or just temporary. For the Sigma woman, labeling feels like giving up a part of herself. She values her identity and freedom above all else, and fears that a label could somehow dilute that. What she doesn't realize is that labels aren't always about control. They're about clarity. When someone loves her, they need to know what role they play in her life. And a label is often the simplest way to express that. It's not about trapping her in a relationship, but rather offering a sense of security and direction. Without that definition, a relationship can feel like it's floating in an ambiguous space, where neither person is quite sure of what they are to each other. Over time, this ambiguity can create tension, with one person feeling like they're investing in something uncertain, while the Sigma woman feels like everything is perfectly fine. The irony is that while she's fighting against being limited by a label, she's actually limiting the potential of the relationship by keeping it in the shadows. A label doesn't have to be a prison. For the Sigma woman, the key is realizing that it's possible to be in a committed relationship without sacrificing her autonomy. A label doesn't take away her independence, and it doesn't mean she's surrendering control over her life. Instead, it gives her partner the peace of mind that they're on the same page, that this relationship means something, and that they have a place in her life beyond the uncertainty. The Sigma woman's fear of labels comes from a deep desire to protect her freedom. But true freedom in a relationship comes from clarity, mutual understanding, and trust. She can still be the independent, free-spirited individual she's always been, while also giving her partner the assurance that they belong. Once she embraces that idea, relationships can flourish without losing the essence of who she is. Number 8. Undervaluing emotional availability. Sigma women are often incredibly focused on their goals, ambitions, and personal growth. They have a clear vision of what they want in life, and they're determined to achieve it on their own terms. While this drive and ambition are admirable, It can sometimes lead to an unintentional neglect of their relationships. Without meaning to, they can prioritize their careers, personal projects, or self-improvement so heavily that their partner starts to feel like an afterthought rather than a priority. This doesn't happen out of malice or disinterest. It's simply a byproduct of how deeply Sigma women immerse themselves in whatever they're passionate about. They have a tendency to compartmentalize their lives, giving each area its own dedicated time and energy. Unfortunately, relationships don't always fit neatly into those compartments. Love isn't something you can schedule between meetings or pencil in after a workout. It requires ongoing attention and emotional presence, something that's hard to maintain when your mind is always on the next big goal. Over time, a partner might begin to feel like they're competing with the Sigma woman's ambitions, constantly vying for her time and attention. They might wonder, and while the Sigma woman sees no issue in balancing her personal success with her relationship, her partner could feel like they're being left behind, or worse, that they're not even part of the journey. The truth is, relationships need nurturing. They can't thrive on autopilot, no matter how strong the initial connection was. A partner needs to feel like they're part of the Sigma woman's world, not just a passenger in it. This means taking time to truly connect, to show interest in the relationship, and to invest in the emotional bond even when life gets busy. For the Sigma woman, it's a matter of recognizing that while personal goals are important, they don't have to come at the expense of her relationship. She doesn't have to choose between being successful and being in love. She can have both. But it requires a conscious effort to ensure her partner feels valued, supported, and included in her life's journey, not sidelined by her ambitions. This is where balance becomes key. The Sigma woman can still pursue her goals with the same intensity and focus, but she must also make space for her relationship to grow alongside her achievements. A strong partnership can actually enhance her success, providing emotional support and grounding her in moments of stress or uncertainty. By making her partner feel like they're a vital part of her life, not just a piece of it, she can maintain the independence she values while building a relationship that thrives on mutual respect and care. Number 9. Mistaking solitude for fulfillment. Sigma women deeply cherish their solitude. They find peace in their own company, thriving in moments of reflection and self-discovery. This solitude isn't just a preference, it's often a cornerstone of their well-being. They love the freedom and control that comes with being alone. However, this profound connection with solitude can sometimes be mistaken for a complete sense of fulfillment, when in reality, it's merely one part of a more complex emotional landscape. The mistake here is in assuming that solitude alone can fully satisfy all emotional needs. Sigma women may feel that their need for a partner is minimal, or that their life is complete without one. This leads to an ironic situation where, despite their desire for a deep and meaningful relationship, they may inadvertently push potential partners away by giving off the impression that they don't truly need or want a connection. The problem isn't that Sigma women don't want companionship. It's that their intense connection to their own space can overshadow their willingness to let someone else in. They might think that since they are content on their own, they don't need to actively pursue or cultivate a relationship. This can leave their partner feeling like they're not an essential part of her life, but rather an optional addition to an already full and satisfying existence. This mindset can create a subtle but significant barrier. When someone is used to being alone and feeling complete, letting another person into that space can seem like a threat to their carefully maintained sense of self. They worry that needing someone might compromise their independence or disrupt their equilibrium. Yet a relationship doesn't have to undermine their solitude. It can complement it, offering a different kind of joy and fulfillment. It's crucial for Sigma women to recognize that needing a partner doesn't mean relinquishing their independence or solitude. Rather, it's about integrating a new dimension into their lives, one that enhances their overall experience without overshadowing their personal space. Embracing a relationship doesn't negate the value of solitude. It simply adds another layer to their emotional landscape, enriching their life with shared experiences and mutual support. In the end, Sigma women must understand that the pursuit of a relationship isn't about filling a void, but about enhancing an already rich and fulfilling life. Solitude is a treasured part of who they are, but allowing someone into that space can bring new depth and meaning, proving that companionship and independence can coexist in a harmonious balance. In navigating the intricate dance of dating, Sigma women face unique challenges rooted in their independence and self-reliance. They excel in carving out a life that is fulfilling on their own terms, yet this very strength can sometimes become a barrier to deeper connections. From maintaining emotional distance to resisting labels and neglecting the needs of their partners, the pitfalls are not always obvious but can have significant impacts on their relationships. Understanding these potential missteps is not about changing who they are, but about enhancing their ability to forge meaningful, lasting connections. It's about recognizing that vulnerability, openness, and the occasional compromise do not diminish their independence, but rather enrich their experiences of love and partnership. By embracing the balance between self-sufficiency and intimacy, Sigma women can transform their relationships into powerful, supportive, and deeply fulfilling connections. In the end, it's not about surrendering their identity, but about expanding their world to include someone who complements and enhances it. When Sigma women navigate their relationships with this awareness, they not only find deeper connections, but also allow their remarkable independence to shine even brighter in the context of a supportive and loving partnership. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Sigma women and their dating dynamics, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Hit the button to get the latest insights and tips directly to your feed. Join us and stay informed on how to enhance your relationships and personal growth. Subscribe now. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.